dear students, myself Gangadhar Solanke, and I welcome you all to the MCGM's virtual classroom. My dear students, today in the geography of standard 9th, we'll be learning the topic endogenetic movements. And in endogenetic movements, here on the screen, as you can see, images of common natural disasters, which includes earthquakes, volcanoes, tsunamis, landslides, which are very common, floods, wildfires. In these, as we can see, various natural events occur on the earth from time to time. And as on the earth these events occur, similarly, because of the movements of the earth's surface, natural events like earthquakes and volcanic eruptions occur. We're to study about these movements into three parts, that is endogenetic movements and exogenetic movements part first and the part second. For the organisms living on earth, these events are disastrous because there is loss of life and property because of such kind of natural calamities. And in this topic, we'll get introduced to these endogenetic movements, that is what? Internal movements. The word endogenetic, which means internal movement, so not on the earth's surface. उसके नीचे जो कुछ मूवमेंट्स होती है अर्थ की, उसके बारे में हम इस टॉपिक में, हम इस लेसन में पढ़ने जा रहे हैं. Earthquakes and volcanoes occur because of the instability in the interior of the earth. अर्थक्वेक हमें ऊपर देखने को मिलता है, उसके रिजल्ट्स हमें देखने को मिलते हैं, बट द रीजन बिहाइंड दिस is the instability in the interior of the earth. You people have already learned about the interior and the exterior of the earth. And this instability which occurs in the interior of the earth created due to the movements occurring in the earth's interior. The movements in the earth's interior occur in the upper layer of the mantle. Now this mantle, you studied about this in the structure of the earth, interior of the earth. The movements in the earth's interior occur in the upper layer of the mantle. Here you can see this in the figure, mantle, then inner core, outer core and crust. So the movements which occur in the upper layer of the mantle here, and because of this, tremendous energy released by radioactive materials in the mantle, and because of these radioactive materials again, or because of the energy which is released by radioactive materials in the mantle, these energy waves travel from one place to another. And all these things happens in the upper layer of the mantle. एनर्जी क्रिएट हो रही है और एनर्जी क्रिएट होने के बाद ये जो एनर्जी वेव्स है वो एक जगह से दूसरी जगह से तीसरी जगह मूव होते रहते हैं. And on the basis of the velocity of these energy waves or the flows of energy, it is classified on the basis of velocity, direction, and landforms. So, if we talk about the classification on the basis of velocity, then the types of movements which we have: slow movements which occurring continuously, like formation of mountains and continents; sudden movements in the form of events like earthquakes and volcanoes; then the landforms, continent building, creating continents, plateaus, and highlands; and then in the landforms, mountain building, which is folding or faulting. And if we talk on the basis of direction, then it's horizontal movements and upward and downward movements. So all these things, like slow movements, sudden movements, horizontal movements, upward or downward movements, continent building or mountain building, all this happens because of the movement or the because of traveling of energy waves from one place to another place in the interior of the earth. Now one by one we'll study this in detail. This first one, slow movements. The effects of slow movements can be seen in the form of formation of mountains and continents on the earth's crust. Now next to the mantle, in the interior of the earth, there is crust, and the effect of slow movements can be seen in the form of formation of mountains and continents on the earth's crust. And because of this, fold mountains, then block mountains, and rift valleys. The slow movements causes or results into fold mountains, block mountains, and rift valleys. One by one now we'll talk about first one, fold mountains. Energy is transferred from the interior of the earth, and because of these energy waves, pressure working towards each other and in horizontal direction, the layers of the soft rocks form folds. And if the pressure is very high, large scale folds are formed and their complexity increases. As you can see in the image here, fold mountains are formed along convergent plate boundaries. The compressional force causes the layers of rocks to buckle and fold. This process is known as folding, and the mountain which results because of this is called fold mountain. Here you can see compressional force, if it is upward and if it is downward, and here is the direction of plate movement and which results into this. The Himalayas, the Aravallis, the Rockies, the Andes, and the Alps are the major fold mountains of the world. Again, now to understand this very easily or in detail, you can go through these images. This is continental crust. Fold mountains are formed when two plates move together. Two plates move together. Here you can see one and this one other. Here also the same thing. This can be where two continental plates move towards each other or a continental and an oceanic plate. The movement of the two plates forces sedimentary rocks upward into a series of folds like this. This is the result of this. And then it will look like this. Fold mountains. Then the next, block mountains. The block mountains are formed as a result of uplift by landforms due to faulting. For example, Black Forest, because of internal movements, horizontal waves moving away from each other. Moving away from each other. This causes tension on the layers of rocks. This leads to formation of fractures like this in the rocks, and these are known as faults. And similarly, when waves coming towards each other in hard rocks also form faults due to compression, and when a part of the earth's crust in between two parallel faults is lifted, it looks like a block. This one. So the simple thing about block mountains, the block mountains are formed as a result of uplift by landforms due to faulting. This one uplift you can see here, this uplift. And now the rift valleys. When the horizontal movements on the earth's surface act in opposite direction, as you can see on the screen, in the opposite direction, it causes tension on the rocks in the earth's crust, and when tension increases, fractures develop in the rocks. This leads to formation of faults. Consequently, rocks on both the ends slide like this, sliding on both the slides, and the continuity in the layers of rocks is not found. So here in this picture you can see how rift valleys form. This plate, two plates moving in the opposite directions, and because of this, here rift valley forms. So rift valleys are places where earth's crust stretches until it breaks. ये यहाँ पर देखिए, ये स्ट्रेच हो रहा है इधर, ये स्ट्रेच हो रहा है इधर, ये स्ट्रेच हो रहा है, और ये तब तक स्ट्रेच होता है जब तक उसमें ब्रेक नहीं होता है. A series of rift valleys stretches from north to south across the center of East Africa. The Great Rift Valley of East Africa is the largest rift valley in the world. Sometimes two fractures develop side by side in the Earth's crust, and the land in between the two fractures subsides. This subsided deep part, this subsided deep part, this subsided deep part is called Rift Valley. Both the slopes of Rift Valley are steep And then two important things about the sudden movements. Earth means the ground as we know, and quake, which means trembling. So earthquake is the movement of the earth's crust. But about this in detail we'll talk in the next session about the earthquake, its causes, and about the effects of earthquake, then about volcanoes, types of volcanoes, effects of volcanoes. Subscribe the channel and press bell icon to get notifications. So my dear ones, this is all for today. Thank you very much. Stay home, stay safe, take care.